Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Listen, thank you for your patience. I am so excited to be here. I am not excited about the things I'm hearing about with regard to this trial, but I'm ready to dig into it. Hopefully, you are too. I am going to just want to welcome everybody who is new to the channel, and especially if you back, honey, because that means we vibe. So give me a few minutes. It's a live. We got to give TikTok. We got to give YouTube the time to do YouTube. That means we know we on a little bit of a delay. So if you're in the replay, go ahead and skip ahead about 6.5 minutes, maybe 7. And I'm going to be right back into the chat and the bushes. Thank you for your patience in advance. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to be right back. Peace, world, peace. Welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks. I am Goddess Dawn. You can also call me the Queen of Info if you wanna. And I prefer, though, $1 trillion Goddess. Yes, it is a vibe, a mindset, and a frequency. Honey, get into it. Listen, we are here. It's Friday. We made it. Yeah. So grateful and happy to be here. I am so excited that you're here too. And I want to get into this testimony. I have not seen hardly anything today. I've seen a couple things, but I know that it's going to be interesting. And I'm ready to just dive into it. I had a couple things I wanted to show, but I'll wait till after the fact, child. Let's go to court. Turn them devices off. Okay, no interruptions, no noise, just relax. All right. Oh, let me say hi to my chosen ones, honey. Let me say hi to the chat. The warriors. Hold on, let me get myself together. Oh, they said it's a whole instrumental playlist. Oh, this is perfect. So thank you for your patience. Today, I'm not pressed for time, as I usually am during the week. Not as pressed for time, shall I say, but I just want to relax. It's been a long week. But I'm here. We here. Wow, Wang, what's going on? Thank you for holding it down. UK Faye in the building. Good to see you, love. Love and peace. Yes, definitely happy Friday. Thank you for the bells. We bring bells over here. Yes, we do. Hey, Michelle, my Ohio queen. Happy Friday. Hug the babies, honey. Yes. Nia X, hey now, hey now. Love to see it. Baby Yoda, thank you for the bells, honey. Happy Friday. Love Queen, a.k.a. Beautiful Spirit. I wish you would have. Can't you just put it back to Beautiful Spirit, child? But happy Friday, honey. Good to see you. Like, share, subscribe for sure. Thank you for that reminder. Miss Sunshine to you. What's going on, Ma? The sunshine is here. Ray all day. Yes. Shout out to you. Let's see. Juti. What? Juti, happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday to Juti, my favorite Canadian. And outside of that too. Hey, Black Letter Law. Yes, we got an amazing person. And like I always say, my favorite attorney. Yes. All right. Miss Money. What? Miss Money Penny. Yes. Happy Friday. Yes. You guys are all over the world. I love this. Woo. I'm so glad it's Friday. Welcome. Let's go. Let's get into it. Let me see. So, as always, I want to thank Matthew Russell Lee for the hard work, the diligent work. He's consistent. Inner City Press on X, definitely holding it down for the troops not on the ground, such as myself. Shout out to the troops who are on the ground for, like I said a couple of days ago, serving it up, honey. Serving up all the info. I love it. Wish I could be there. So let's get into today's procession. Cassie Ventura, star witness, still on the stand, being cross-examined. As of yesterday, they were going back and forth. The judge was specifically with the defense about how long more are we going to be doing this with Miss Ventura. We are on a tight schedule, okay? And the defense seemed to, be somewhat vague about, well, despite the fact that she has other obligations, our client's life is on the line. And her other obligations would be that she's dang near 9 months pregnant, or maybe even 9 months pregnant at this point, and she has a hard stop today. Okay, but we have to leave room for the prosecution to cross or to re interview her and to clean up the mess they leave. And then they also have a chance to come back up too. I think there might be another time for the government too. So this thing takes time. Okay. And the judge was not happy with it. So with that being said, let's see what Matthew has for us today on Friday, 8 hours ago, honey. I'm on the West Coast. So it says 8 hours ago here. The judge, he says, the government has said, wait, am I on the right? Let me make sure I'm at the right. The government has said the defense is okay. The government has said the defense's cross-examination can go until 4:30 p.m. today, and that they'll limit themselves to 30 minutes of redirect. Anna, judge or defense attorney, Miss E, she says, we have evidentiary issues. The judge says, tell me about them. Should have been in writing. The judge is constantly telling them to put it in a letter. Miss E says, we don't understand why they are taking time objecting to our exhibits. Prosecutor Johnson says they are proposing to use a video of Mr. Combs walking in nature, talking about God. It is improper invited jury nullification. The judge said, let's hear it. And then I guess they play audio of Combs speaking about God, it says here. Miss E says this was about him being in rehab, which Miss Ventura didn't remember. So we want to refresh her recollection with this. Johnson says it cannot be played for her in front of the jury. Miss E says we have headphones. The judge said our jury is ready. Any more issues? Oh, boo. I'm sorry to hear. I'm sorry for the interruption, but I just got a message that there's thunderstorms going on in some parts of this country, and that internets are in and out. So hopefully y'all come back if your internet goes out. It is lovely and sunny here. But anyway, wait, let me come over here and make sure. Hey, Ray, all day. Maybe if he didn't do all this stuff, his life wouldn't be on the line. Hello. God is like, why am I in it? Exactly. Okay, let me get back to it here. Focus. So this is before the jury comes in, y'all. The judge says, our jury is ready. Any more issues? Ms. E says, if the R word is after the charged conduct, it shouldn't have come in. It's a huge issue for us. The judge says, it's not a huge issue. You didn't raise it at the time. Ms. E said, we thought we could cross on it. So I don't know what happened after that, but judge next says here, all rise. Good morning. You are still under oath, Miss Ventura. Ms. E says, you believe Mr. Combs was blackout for the intercontinental event? Cassie says, I believe he was intoxicated. Everyone's definition is different. Ms. E says, but you said blackout. What did you write here? I wrote, when you get effed up the wrong way. Ms. E said, you meant drugs? She said, and alcohol. Here, Mr. Combs, write to you, I'm so horny for you. Prosecutor Johnson says, this is not in evidence. Ms. E says, here, Mr. Combs is asking you for sex soon after the Intercontinental, right? Cassie says, I was saying who he felt. I was saying who he felt. How? I don't know. Ms. E says, what did you write back? She said, I wrote, we need a different vibe than Friday at the Intercontinental. Miss E says, Mr. Combs wrote, F Friday. I don't even want to do that again. What did you write? I wrote, LOL, true. Miss E says, Mr. Combs suspected you of having an affair with someone else in the industry. What happened when he took your phone? She says, we were in a car and he told me to call my mother. When I did, he grabbed it and took it. Miss E says, it was a big fight. She said, he was just gone. For how long? A few hours, until my mother called the police. Did Mr. Combs go through your phone? I think so. And he called someone on it. The person you had an affair with, an NFL player? I don't know if he's playing anymore. But if he was an NFL player and he was jealous, wasn't there a time he found out? Wasn't there a time he found out you were dancing with another person in the entertainment industry and took your phone, right? I don't remember. It was Chris Brown. I was not dancing with him. Look at this. It's from 2013. I see. What else did Mr. Combs take? My car, my passport, when he was angry. Let's refresh you about Mr. Combs being in rehab. I vaguely remember. Why did you go to Sedona? I went to Arizona to get away from the drugs. I'm going to go to a new topic. Mr. Combs told you to get the video you'd heard about. What did you write? I wrote, you keep putting me down. I'm going to play for you some audio. So I guess they're playing audio of Cassie saying, in quotes, if you saw a video of someone effing me, who was effing me? You have it. Why didn't you show me? And then I guess the other person on the audio says, because I'm not disrespectful, bro. She said, if you don't show me, I'll unalive you, cut you up. It says, still the audio played for the jury. This is the reporter telling us. Cassie says, I will effing unalive you, or Kill actually is what was here. But I will effing unalive you. I've never unalived anyone in my life. I'm going to F you up. It's not going to be blood on my hands. Someone else is going to do it. I'm not playing with you, Suji. Tell me. Miss E said, that was you, right? Yes. Did Mr. Combs express concern about these videos being released? When? Ever? Yes. The escort, Jonathan, you thought he took a video? Yes. And I have his picture actually because I was going to talk about him at one point. But this is that guy, Jonathan Adi. And this is who she forth with about this video. I remember, oh man, I don't remember if I went back and played any of the video. I was showing some of this with the feds, looked like a interrogation room. And he was saying that he had to record, he set his phone up and to record what was going on because he thought Diddy might try to put a unaliving rap on him. He has seen Cassie slumped over, even being told it's not going to happen tonight because she's too messed up. And he felt like he might be in a position of being blamed if something happened to her. So he set his phone up to record. And so this is, I guess Cassie found out. And this is who she was arguing with at this moment that they're talking about in the courtroom. Okay. I'm going to put a picture up. This is them. We're going through text messages. Let me take. Okay. Let's get back into it. So they're listening to this audio, right? And they confirmed that it was Jonathan Oddie, the escort. Miss E says, Mr. Combs spent a lot of money to make sure the video didn't get released. She said, I don't know. She said, you had a conversation with Jonathan Oddie that was transcribed. She's asking. She said, I'm not sure. She said, he was volatile. She said, I didn't trust him. What did Mr. Combs say when you told him you thought Mr. Oddie was recording? He said he'd take care of it. Are you aware of an escort leaving comments on Mr. Combs' Instagram page? I'm not. Now let me talk to you about rehab. Do you still Suboxone? I think it's Suboxone, something like it. What does it treat? Opioid addiction. Objection. The government objects. Judge overrules. Ms. E said, you wrote a book in rehab. The place treats sexual compulsion. The government objects. The judge calls a sidebar. Okay, now they're back. Ms. E says, did you get neurofeedback therapy? Ventura says yes. Ms. E says, what is it? Cassie says, they took something up to your head and hook something. They hook something up to your head and show you things. See how you react. Miss E says, were you told the effects of it? She said, it would help me with my trauma. Did you participate in EDMR? She said, yes. What does it do? Memories and processing them. The idea is you recall prior traumatic memories, like for PTSD. You were being treated for PTSD? Yes. I was still physically developing. Miss E says, you were 22. She says, women keep developing after 22, don't you think? But you're not suggesting you were still physically developing after 22. I'm not. This message is about having a freak out without ketamine, right? Prosecutor Johnson says, may I confer with counsel? The judge says no, but we'll take a break. The jury then leaves, says more coming. With jury out, they continue speaking in the courtroom. The judge, he says the witness list, need that by Sunday at 5 p.m. And the reporter makes a note saying, but will this and other filings, which are clearly judicial documents, be in the docket? He's been asking about this for the past couple of days. The judge says, as for these long text messages, use binders so we can save time. Wow. Judge says, now real break. Okay. Let me see if y'all have anything to say. We are on our first break. Juti said in Eastern Canada, it was really stormy too. Oh, wow. Faye, thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the storm. Definitely. Wow, Wayne said they attacking the witnesses. Love Queen says, sounds like pufferfish team all over the place. Right. Yesterday they were a mess. Miss Money Penny said, pufferfish is guilty, guilty, guilty. It's pufferfish. You cannot unsee it. All right. Let's get back to court, y'all. They're back. All right. 2 hours in. Miss E says, Mr. Combs wrote, you're so predictable. You said you were going to tell him you didn't want to do freakouts anymore, but you didn't say it, did you? She said, I did not. Here you were suggesting a freak off with a girl. You say you found a photo of Mr. Combs with Gina while you were staying with your parents in Connecticut, right? Yes. And you decided to break up with him and he didn't threaten you, but you suggested couples counseling. She said, I don't know. Ms. E said, in August of 2018, you called it a closure conversation. Mr. Combs was inviting you to Burning Man, right? Yes. I'll read Mr. Combs. Oh, I'll read Mr. Combs. Okay. You have anger. She says, I wrote, my family knows I'm not running around telling our business. She said, I wrote, I don't need you to be taking care of Kim and Gina. I needed you to put me first. Miss E, she said, please read these. You lied to me. She never went away. It was the nail in the coffin. Miss E said, you meant Gina, the photo. And she said, yes. Now, y'all remember Gina was supposedly, we don't know for sure, and I kind of think now more so that it's not her. But remember, witness 3, she said to not be cooperating. So people were saying that's Gina, but I'm not sure. But her name sure is coming up a lot. Anyway. So Miss E says, in your civil lawsuit, you say Mr. Combs R-worded you in September of 2018 after you had dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, right? Yes. Did you meet with the U.S. on November 30th of 2023? Yes, not the exact date. In this meeting, you said the R word took place after Mr. Combs returned from Burning Man. You said he was acting strangely at that dinner. I don't remember exactly that word. Did you meet the U.S. on April 8th, 2025? Around then. This message to Facebook, to FB, who's that? Frank Black, a name he used. He wrote, I'm in an investors conference. We'll get back to this. You still have love for him? I love for the past and what it was. And it says, yet after another sidebar, so there's a sidebar with the judge. Then Miss E comes back. You wrote, I didn't mean to be a bitch. I just don't get the time. He writes, just need you to be positive, correct? She said, yes. Miss E said, DX 1309, this is about a yoga instructor? Yep. What did you write? I wrote, I've stopped even caring. But you did care. Yeah. So he said you could date other people. Let's just talk about it. Correct? She said, yes. And what did you write? I wrote, I do love you. I would prefer not being one of your girlfriends. Let's get up tomorrow night. I'll do studio from 6 to 9. Miss E he writes, can I hold you? Or are you just going to break up with me? And you write back, we can embrace, LOL. And you wanted to hug him, right? That's what I said. Did you have sexual intercourse with Mr. Combs that night? I did. And during that night, your now husband FaceTimed you? Yes. Your now husband didn't know you were with Mr. Combs at the time. I don't know what he knew. Later, he discovered it. Objection by the government. The judge overrules. Miss E says, it says, your husband, you were R-worded. Oh, you don't know if your husband knows you were R-worded. Not that evening, she says. After Miss Porter's memorial service, you wrote to him that you were going home. Why had he called Kim his soulmate? What was the 11 years all about? She said, yes. That was hurtful? She said at that time, yes. And after that memorial service, you never saw Mr. Combs again, right? She said, I did not. He let you go, right? I never saw him again. I don't know how about letting me go. She said, you married to the love of your life, right? You got married. You got married to the love of your life, right? The judge wants to take a break at this point. We're taking a break. Okay, I'm going to come see if y'all have anything to say. Oh, you guys are crazy. Okay. They're back. The judge says, let's get this done before the jury. Miss E says, we still think it's appropriate for this message to come in. Prosecutor Johnson says, we still have issues with the phrases like, I'd like to reconnect. That's what state of mind is this being offered for? The judge says there are portions that are properly admissible, so this needs to be redacted if it is going to be admitted into evidence. For example, in the 5th paragraph, I've been getting my life together. No. Ms. E says we can through other exhibits. The judge said, you can redact it right now. And she said, I will do it right now. Let them know, Judge, who's running it. Ms. E says we can get through. Oh, wait. And then it says also Combs attorney Tenny Garagos on exhibits and redactions. So she's jumping in as well. It's a whole mess. Ms. E says, I want to say we're going to finish with faster than he thought, probably before the next break. Agnifilo jumps in and says, may I speak with the government for 1 minute? Then the judge says to bring the jury back in. The jury enters the room. Ms. E says, Ms. Ventura, we're almost done here. She said, thank you. I will read Mr. Combs' message. You're going to make a beautiful mother. God bless. Wow. She says, she said that was his message. You're going to make a beautiful mother. God bless. She says, I said, thank you. God bless. I wrote, we should talk and Miss E says, Mr. sent back a tear face emoji. He said, you were always my ride or die. She said, I thought it was nice. Miss E said, you've been craving that before. I don't think I was craving now. Miss E says, you shaped you over 11 years, and there's silence. I don't know. He must be getting tired, child. Miss E, maybe he shaped her. Miss E says, you shaped each other? She said, yes. Miss E said, your husband's a physical trainer? She said, yes. The house you grew up in Connecticut was relatively modest compared to your mansions? Yes. You were preparing to tour with a Matt Testa? She said, yes, he's an engineer. Once you settled your lawsuit, you canceled the tour, right? She said, yes. Because you no longer needed the money? That wasn't the reason. After the hotel video came out, you posted on Instagram that domestic violence is the issue, right? She said, yes, I still feel that way. Estevio says, DX1015, Mr. Combs wrote, want to freak off one last time. What did you write? I don't want it to be the last time. I want freak off for the first time. And what? I don't want it to be the last time. I want freak off for the first time. Okay, Miss E says no further questions. Now the government, the judge is asking the government if they have redirect. Of course they do. Prosecutor Johnson comes up. Ms. Ventura, you were shown this message where you ended. I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives. What did you say after that? Yes, I'm horny. Just got over a UTI. You were shown messages today in which you and Sean were kind and loving. She said, yes. Did those period ever last? Miss E said, objection. The judge overrules it. Cassie says, no, they didn't last. There's a downswing. Prosecutor Johnson said, what world did Sean open up to you? She said, a world of chaos. Government says, in your 11-year relationship, who did you want to have sex with? She said, only him at that time. When Sean wrote, seduce me all day, what did you do? I write about FOs. Were you able to cancel work obligations for freak offs? Yes, if I was told to. When you were shooting the movie in South Africa and you blocked him, how did he contact you? Through Mia. He said he didn't remember hurting you. Did you believe him? Not always, because I knew him. There were times he was pretty aware of what he was doing. It was just who he was. I'd seen him be violent with other people. On the way back from Cannes, what did Sean do? He played a video of me having sex with an escort. What'd he say he'd do? He'd release it. When you got to New York, what did Sean ask for? A freak off, or he'd release it. When Sean wrote, "You ready for tonight?" what did he mean? Freak off. What were you afraid he would do if you did not do the freak off? Miss E says, objection, the judge overrules. Ventura said, I don't know, that week. Judge said, next question. Judge said, let's get off of these freak offs, please. Prosecutor Johnson says, do you have any doubt that Sean R-worded you? Miss E, objection. The judge overrules. Cassie says, I have no doubt. The government says, after Sean R-worded you on August 18th, did you later have consensual sex with Sean, with which your now husband your now husband FaceTimed you? She said, yes. Why did you cancel the tour? After I filed my civil suit, I was overwhelmed. Addressing the past the way I chose to was overwhelming. I didn't want to go. Do you plan to file more lawsuits? No. Would you give the $20 million back if you hadn't have had to do freak offs? Miss E says, objection, the judge overrules. Cassie says, I would give it back to get my agency back. The government asked, did he beat you during freak offs? She said yes, and starts crying. I guess I need to change this too. This is her crying. That's yesterday, I think, or the day before. I know she's glad this is over. Okay. Were you open to freak offs at the beginning? She says. At the beginning, yes. Well, not yes. She says at the beginning. Did you tell him when you no longer wanted to do them? Yes, more than once. What concerns did you have about saying no to freak offs? Safety, career, love? No further questions. The judge asked Miss E if she had anything. Miss E says, you knew Mr. Combs' sexual preference was these freak offs, right? She said, I learned. It was part of being his girlfriend. Yeah. You kept your old device? She said, yes. Freak off videos. In this case, they were all on those devices you kept from 2012 and 2014. I don't know what year. You were able to stand at his side at the Met Gala. Being his girlfriend gave you access to producers. She said yes. Beyond Kid Cudi, what other musicians were you put in the studio with? Were you put in the studio with Nicki Minaj? She said yes. The reporter put a note that this is the first and only reference to Nicki Minaj in this trial. But they want us to know they have it says, Inner City Press has been informed that a falsified post of its reporting has been circulating. Oh, I guess somebody's circulating a post of his saying that Cassie in court said Nicki encouraged her to stay with Diddy. That's not what that was. Okay. Can't believe everything you read, child. Miss E says, were you put in the studio with Lil Wayne? She said yes. And with Rick Ross and Pusha T. Am I forgetting any names? She said, you've got a lot of names. You are self-conscious about your musical talent? I wouldn't say that. You had a bad performance on 106 in Park. She said, early in my career, you did music videos. Were they successful? The judge says, may we have a brief sidebar? So I wonder what he said to be a fly on that judge's desk. Okay, they come back. Miss E says, D-Rock was like a member of your family? She said, yes, like a brother. The assistant Mia, you also had a friendship with? She said, yes. Okay, here you begin with an explicit message, and he responds with one. You are actively sexting. You stated that you were feeling overwhelmed after filing your lawsuit, right? She says, yes. You recently received a settlement from the Intercontinental? She said, no. You made a demand? She said, yes, 10 million, maybe. The judge says, anything further? And prosecutor says, I just have one question. The judge says, I was asking Miss E, can you wrap up in 2 minutes? Miss E says, this is the last thing I'll ask you to read. Miss Ventura, she says, and then Cassie says, thank you. We need closure and understanding. Prosecutor Johnson says, why did you keep your devices? She said, I was afraid of what was on them. I wouldn't take them to the Apple store. Miss E says, one question. You just reached $10 million settlement with Intercontinental last week before trial. And the prosecution objects, and the judge overrules. So she says yes. So she did reach a settlement. She didn't mention that in the initial answering. So the judge calls for a break at this point. And there is some talking during the break. Agnifilo says, we object to the testimony of the witness after the special agent, Don Richard. So there's a special agent that's going to testify, y'all, next. This special agent works for Homeland Security and the human trafficking arm of Homeland Security. And they're going to talk about the search of the hotel when he was arrested. Yes, I did see some of that, child, on Twitter. Okay. But of course, Agnifilo, they don't want Don to testify. And they're bringing it up in the last hour here. So the judge says, why is this coming up at 3:30 p.m.? Going forward, you just address things before the courtroom. Going forward, you must address things before the courtroom. So the reporter keeps asking, why are submissions not in the docket? So the jury's coming back. Prosecutor Madison Smizer is up now. Good afternoon. Where do you work? Okay, so this is the agent being, Cassie's gone. All right. She's gone off to have her child and live her life and now be completely free. Well, maybe not completely free, but free as far as bearing her soul and exposing herself to the world. What her experience was with Sean Diddy Combs for her 11 years, where she endured a lot of trauma, a lot of brutal physical, emotional, mental abuse. And not to say, she couldn't have, people say, well, why did it take so long for her to say something? Why? You can't measure that as an outsider, but I just wanted to say, not to say she probably engaged, she did things to prolong, to engage herself, meaning kept going back, texting him about wanting freak offs and things like that after saying she really didn't like him. But there's a psychological aspect to this, I guess is my point. And that I believe are experts coming in to psychiatrists, forensic psychiatrists who come in and speak on the mental weight that this behavior can have on a person. All right, so we're coming back from break. The judge is entering. We have a prosecutor, Madison Smizer, up. Good afternoon. Where do you work? and it's Special Agent Yasin Binda, HSI, uh, Homeland Security investigators in the human trafficking group. I'm in the crisis negotiation group too. Did you serve subpoenas in this case? Binda says yes. When Sean Combs was arrested, where did you go? The Park Hyatt room 2115, where he was staying. They show photos of the entrance shown to the jury. What did you do? We assigned a letter to each room and began to search. What was your role? I took photographs of items, then signed them on the 6051 form. What was found? Was this found in his closet? In the closet. Okay. Was this found in the closet? There's photos shown of plastic bags full of J&J baby oil and Astroglide bottles. What was found in the bathroom? Binda says several bottles of baby oil. So they also show pictures. Now the bedroom. What was found in the LV bag? Binda says medication in the name of Frank Black. And that is this. They show more pictures, and Binda says bags of pink powder found in the medicine bottle. The reporter is telling us stipulations shown agreeing it was found and tested by Customs and Border Patrol lab. So the prosecution is reading from STIP. The pink powder was found to be ketamine and MDMA in a bottle. The reporter is telling us physical evidence is passed around to the jury, then photo is shown. Okay, let me take this picture down first of all. I don't have a picture of the I think this is the lady. I don't have a picture of the agent, but and Cassie's gone. Let's let her go on and rest. Let's see if I have a picture. I think I have a picture of the court. This is before the trial started, but okay. Spicer says, what was found in the black mini pack bag? Binda says $9,000. Please take the cash out of the bag. Agent Binda does, fanning out the bills. So then Smizer says no further questions. The judge asks if there's any cross. Tenny Garagos gets up and asks, in the hotel room, did you see any bags and clothing indicating probably that women was staying with him there? Binda says yes. The judge says the U.S. may call in its next witness. Okay. The prosecution says, Your Honor, the government calls Dawn Richard. Where are you from? She says. And Dawn says, New Orleans, Louisiana. From 2004 and 2011, who did you work for? Puff, Sean Combs. Do you see him? Yes. Who is depicted in this photo? She says, Cassie. In 2009, did you observe an incident between Puff and Cassie? She was attacked by Sean Combs, kicked. Did you see more violence by him against Cassie? Often. They show a photo of Diddy with dirty money shown. When were you a member of this group? 2009 to 2011. The incident in 2009 when Sean Combs beat Cassie, where was it? In Sean Combs' LA home. We were recording. What did he do? He was saying Where the F is my food? He grabbed a black skillet with eggs and tried to hit her over the head. Cassie dropped to the ground. What did she do? She went into fetal position. Then what? Sean Combs was kicking her in the head and body and then dragged her up to the first floor, glass breaking and yelling, I was scared for her and for me too. Did you intervene? No. Did you call the police? No. The next day, what happened? That it had been passionate and she was okay. That it would be better if we didn't talk, that people could end up missing. How did you understand that? Death. Agnifilo says, objection. There's a sidebar at this point. I mean, she's opening the door to some child. When they get back from the sidebar, the judge says jurors can leave for the weekend. They got to end it on the death. They ended it on death. Oh, Lord. You can leave for the weekend, watch the Yankees play the Mets or the Knicks. If you're not into sports, there's a lot going on. See you Monday. The jurors leave. The judge says, Miss Richard, you can leave. Child, I hope she has protection. Okay, let's see. I think there should be some more. Yeah, the judge says, about this line of testimony. Uh-oh. Prosecutor Comey says, this shows consciousness of guilt for count one and relevant to count one. Agnifilo says, it's not as trafficking, it's domestic violence. The judge says, why didn't you bring a motion in limine on this? Agnifilo says, I didn't know. He didn't know because he's too busy on the Luigi Mangione case. Agnifilo says, we cannot sit here and say Miss Ventura did anything because of this event because she didn't talk about this one. So this is rank speculation. Judge says, but she was there. Agnifilo says, she doesn't know the effect on Cassie Ventura. Wow. The judge then says, who are the next witnesses? Prosecutor Comey answers, Carrie Morgan and David James. Uh-oh. So Carrie Morgan is a witness, but she is a witness for the prosecution. I was wondering because her name kept coming up. And David James, is he one of the escorts? They tell us Inner City said we'll be back on Monday. Wait, the judge says, so that's it. I'll have a word in the robing room with Miss Comey and Mr. Agnifilo. I don't need a court reporter. Oh, shoot. To be a fly on the wall. The reporter said that might be a problem. Okay, what is this he's showing us here? Hold on. Oh, okay, so he wrote like some type of article. This guy, the reporter who tweeted the thread or has been tweeting the threads. How many pages is this? Oh, it's short. Let me see what this is. Oh, this is one of the letters that was filed in the docket. It is dated yesterday to the judge. It's regarding the press application to the docket and unseal the government's and defense's communications to chambers on evidentiary and other issues. Okay, so this is the press. It says Inner City Press has been covering the above caption case like many others since its indictment. The morning before the jury came in, both the government and the defense referred to multiple communications to the court about evidentiary and other issues, but these are not in the public docket on PACER. This application letter motion argues that many, if not all, these judicial documents to which the public and press have a right of access, they should be put in the docket now and going forward in this trial. Citing some case law too. Is he one of the ones that wanted access to the videos? It's, at a recent meeting of this court's Media Access Committee, it was suggested that with that such requests should be made in writing to the district judge. I'm copying the USA and the defense. Okay, so he's trying to get access. I thought this had to do with the actual trial. All right. So that was it. They're coming back on Monday. But the judge taking Comey and Ignifilo into that room, I don't think that's going to be a pleasant conversation. Let me come over to the comments here. Let's see. I Miss Money. I bet Cassie couldn't wait to get off the stand. Exactly. The judge has had enough. Ray says, sounds like defense trying to call her career a dud, like Future did with Sierra. Child. Hey, y'all. Oh, so we have Ray 4911 in here as well. I have y'all both in the same day. You guys spell your names differently, I notice now. So no more confusion. Ray said $10 million more. Good for her. Right. They haven't paid yet, though. The Intercontinental hasn't paid yet, but they owe her that and then some for not for selling that footage. That's crazy. Love Queen said all of the survivors are going to have a lifetime triggers, and Pufferfish will still be the chump he is. Definitely. While Wayne said a husband should say something. The husband, you mean Cassie's husband? He has been saying stuff, child, behind the scenes. Ray said Biggie would call himself Frank White. That is true. And he's Frank Black. Interesting. Love Queen said Pufferfish was still doing freak offs, knowing the government was on him. Okay. He couldn't help himself. Well, Wayne says guilty, guilty, guilty. He believes he's untouchable and he can do what he wants. Ray said guilty on all charges. Yeah, I do think he thinks he's untouchable still. If you look at this picture, I thought it was an interesting courtroom sketch, because he's the one over here on the far left standing up. I haven't really seen in a trial where the defendant is standing up and like being all expressive as far as his anger, and like I don't know, child. Ray said guilty on all charges, child. Love Queen said, I wonder who's the female that was in the room when he was arrested. Well, Wayne said yes. Okay. Juti said his delusions of grandeur will be cut to size soon. Yeah. Love Queen. Cassie did say Pufferfish would call himself Black. We know, I don't know. There's something about him with the black, you know what, with the white fingernail polish, as he likes the visual of that. But I think Ray had something when she said Biggie called himself Frank White. He called himself Frank Black. Corleone. Yes. So let's see if I have anything before we wrap this up. But that was what did y'all think of Cassie's final testimony? I mean, I doubt that. I don't think she's gonna get called back at all. She's about to go have that baby. And the judge was said to be very upset with Ignifilo about the fact that they weren't giving the judge what they weren't telling the judge what he wanted to hear when it came to when y'all gonna be finished with her. So we need to have time for redirect, and we need to have time to bring up the next witness, which it sounds like they've done. They've at least gotten him introduced and gotten him started. So I don't know. There's a lot of I haven't looked at the filings as of yet, but like I said, we're going to do a week recap this weekend. Just make sure you have your notifications on so you can come join me. Let's see what we got here. TikTok usually has something. It's a lot of people on the ground of the courthouse covering this, giving details that we're not getting from the Twitter. Let's see. I did want to show.
Somebody's watching me. It's my anxiety.
I have no idea why this was connected to my speaker. Since when is my computer connected to my speaker? All right. So Alex Fine, Cassie's husband, posted this. Actually, this was posted. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. I just showed up on my timeline. It looks like the comments. It looks like 3 days ago. But that's a good looking couple, child. And I guess they're trying to say, thanks for the $20 million and the extra 10 we getting from the hotel. Let's see. I gotta fix this audio because hold on a second. Ooh. I had all kind of mishaps going on here. Give me 1 second. Did I want to show this? Is this from yesterday?
You're liar. Miami was getting pissed off.
Wait, hold on. I don't even know if y'all can hear that audio. Here we go. Okay.
She was doing it all. Absolutely. She said, they said, well, where would the urine, how would the and get involved?
Oh, never mind.
She said, I was so drugged out.
This
I was so high. I was so gone. I laid there and
okay, that gets graphic. That's from yesterday's testimony. Just trying to stay on the die. Okay, let me get to her channel.
Diddy's next witness testifying against him is Dawn Richard. And yes.
Let's see what she got.
It's day 5 in the Diddy trial, and Dawn Richard is giving her testimony against Diddy. And this will be her full testimony that she is giving against Diddy. And before we get into Dawn Richard's testimony, I have to show you guys how you actually pronounce her name, because if I get one more comment talking about how I'm saying her name wrong when I'm actually saying it right, I might just flip out. So watch this.
Dawn Richard.
Yes, you are gonna be. Oh my God, you are gonna be the only one. I should bow down and kiss your feet. Yes, that's my name. Yes, I stopped correcting people because I felt like it was obvious, but they just never. They put an S. They find a son, and it becomes Richardson.
The government starts out with your honor. The government calls Dawn Richard to the stand. Where are you from? New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay, we went through this. Let me see if she got anything else to add.
York when they came after him, but yet he has all of these illegal substances. The baby, way back when, that Diddy went to New York because he knew that they were about to raid him. So he was turning himself in. He wanted to be closer when they came after him, but yet he has all of these illegal substances, the baby oil and everything, and he knew he was about to get arrested. That's wild. I can't wait for the rest of Dawn Richard's testimony, but y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. It's
so yeah, that's an interesting point about the fact that he had all that contraband on him, knowing that he was, I think the word was he was going to be turning himself in, but he just, they got to him first because that.
I'll Be Sure just admitted that he was subpoenaed to testify against Diddy. I'll Be Sure was just on the news and subpoenaed to testify against Diddy. And not only that, he also said that he believes that Diddy was the reason he was put into a coma. That's not even all. He said, you guys have no idea what I actually went through. There was bounties put on my head and everything for speaking about things that Diddy was doing and Kim Porter's passing.
Yeah, I'll be on the news talking about this. He said he couldn't say too much. Let's see. What is this?
This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for
Okay, this is Cassie and her husband's statement regarding following her testimony.
me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support, and I'm grateful for all the kindness and encouragement that I have received. I am glad to put this chapter of my life to rest. As I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy, I ask for privacy for me and for my growing family. Over the past 5 days, the world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife, freeing herself of her past. There has been speculation online surrounding how it must feel for me to sit there and listen to my wife's testimony. I have felt so many things sitting there. I have felt tremendous pride and overwhelming love for Cass. I have felt profound anger that she has been subjected to sitting in front of a person who tried to break her. So, to him and all of those who helped him along the way, please know this: you did not. You did not break her spirit nor her smile that lights up every room. You did not break the souls of a mother who gives the best hugs and plays the silliest games with our little girls. You did not break the woman who has made me a better man. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Cassie saved Cassie. She alone broke free from abuse, coercion, violence, and threats. She did the work of fighting the demons that only a demon himself could have done to her. All I have done is love her as she has loved me. Her life is now surrounded by love, laughter, and our family. This horrific chapter is forever put behind us. This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering.
Wow. So that's her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, speaking on her and her husband, Alex Fine's behalf. After her testimony, how long? 3 days of testimony, right? Ready to deliver their baby, their third child, by the way. They already have 2 daughters. And now she can move on. Hopefully, if she still needs her therapy, she's getting it. But maybe the love that she has surrounding her can actually be the final straw in the healing phase, even though I know it's ongoing. So, wow. Well, day 5, part 1. This is them arriving today.
Oh, it's one of the sons, the youngest one. Looks just like his father. How are you guys doing tonight? So we got sure who this is, but we'll find out. Oh,
Again, just the guys, unless they're just not all together. We don't know.
Cassie's finished testifying, and holy cow, are there some bombshells, and I'm going to give you the big ones in under a minute and a half. So first, Chris Brown's name was brought up early on today because Diddy had believed a rumor that Cassie had danced with him, and apparently he went berserk, taking away her phone, her car, her watch, anything that he could to control her, and apparently she never even danced with him. The next thing she talked about was that she just felt like she was an S worker for Diddy and not much more, that her career took a backseat to the freak-offs and that's all she was doing. Now, the judge did strike S worker from it, but the jury still heard it loud and clear. Now, this next thing is a pretty big one. She talked about Jonathan Oddie, and if you don't know that story, he is somebody who was arrested for taking a firearm to Trump's Doral Resort in 2018, firing it. And basically, he was saying when he was getting arrested that he was an S worker, an S slave for Diddy. Well, Cassie confirmed that not only was that true, that they also believed, both her and Diddy believed, that he was secretly filming them, even though there's no evidence of that at this point in time. Next, Cassie was caught on tape threatening to unalive someone. This was over an S-tape that this person had that he wasn't supposed to, and he was threatening to release it. So she went up and said, I've never unalived anyone before, but I will unalive you. Diddy basically told her to handle it and how to handle it, and that was what she did. Cassie also talked about how the freak offs made her feel degraded, worthless, and robbed of her autonomy, and that she would give all the money back, the $20 million from the lawsuit, if it meant that she had never had to do any freak offs, that the money doesn't erase the trauma. She also said that despite everything, she still doesn't hate him. She described the freak offs as being not just kinky, but also humiliating, violent, and filled with substances. She also sent him a text after the 2016 meeting telling him that I'm not a ragdoll, I'm somebody's child. Now, for more information, more in-depth review of this, I have a midday, and I'll do an in-depth recap on YT, also on Substack if you guys want to follow along over there to get a lot more details. These were just the highlights. Make sure that follow button, drop your...
Okay, sir. So that's the gist of it. I know there's probably a lot of extras that the guy did not tweet. That's why I'm just kind of scouring around. For people more so on the ground, though, like, hello. But I think I'm going to hear it's Friday. You know what I'm saying? You guys, welcome Bill Herrera. Let me see what y'all have to say before we check out. Let me see. Juti says she did good. She should concentrate on herself, her baby, and her family. That she deserves peace from them, from this. Absolutely. I would have liked for Cassie to validate Dawn's claims of that moment cooking eggs in the kitchen. I don't know if I know that story. Oh, or maybe I don't remember it. And any other testimony of her getting beat. I think, well, Dawn is probably going to validate some stuff that Cassie has said. I think Cassie did well, and the defense is unorganized and pitiful. Bill Herrera, welcome. I don't see a path out of this for Diddy. Never know, though. This is just the first inning. Yeah. I think they've already gave us enough for him to have some kind of charge. Definitely hit the like button. Thank you so much. Bill says, sounds like somebody dimed him out. You talking about Diddy got dimed out? Diddy, you know, a lot of people have been getting dimed out since Diddy got arrested. All of a sudden, all these people were getting caught. More recently, even Smokey Robinson, it's been said that he's under some allegations now. And I immediately think Diddy did that. Thank you, Miss Money Penny, for the bills. Ray said, why can't the brothers hold hands? What brothers? Oh, the brothers. The brothers are not going to hold hands. They're not going to hold hands. Well, Wayne said guilty, guilty, guilty. Oh, wow. I'm going to see something after I leave here and go, dang it. I wanted to show. I'll show it tomorrow if that's the case, I guess. But yeah, a lot of things have come out of Cassie's testimony. I mean, you know, the first victim witness that we're going to hear from, that we've heard from, and it's in their entirety. And she corroborated some charges. I mean, her direct testimony is considered evidence. So it's all a matter of whether or not the jury is buying it or not, what the jury thinks. So remember, though, they're going to be given instructions. So it's not like they are supposed to go in there and just vote based on, you know, a good old gut feeling. They really have to go by the guidelines that they're going to be provided. And I'm not sure how they check whether or not that is actually the case. Like, I don't know what kind of a scale they have that on, so they can make sure that that person is abiding by the law, the instructions. Maybe they can tell in some kind of way, but this trial is just getting started. There's a lot more to go. There's a lot more that's going to be revealed. I heard Aubrey O'Day's name mentioned, that she's supposed to be testifying. We know Albie Sure is supposed to be testifying. I'm not sure if Kid Cudi is going to testify or not, but I would hope they do have direct testimony for, aside from Cassie, with regard to that incident, or those incidents, because those are also the arson and assault, I think, as well. But nevertheless, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here. We'll come back tomorrow. Miss Penny says, "Great live, thank you." Okay, yeah, bet. Sending love and peace as well. Yeah, till next time, y'all. Bye-bye. Oh, and go to my Nosy Goddess, Nozey channel. I'm actually about to edit my updated Chris Brown video. Chris Brown in trouble, y'all. He in trouble. The Nosy Goddess.